Hello, I'm Nicolas. I'm a celibate brother of the Shomanaf community, and I've been living in Berlin for 3 months. I come from France. I'm French. So we are now coming to the end of these 3 online days, and today we want to look forward to the coming year, so the year 2021. I would now to start like to use the image of the rockets that we use for our advertising campaign to sum up these few days. So to launch a rocket, you need to go through several stages. To begin, we have begun with praise and thanksgiving, and through praise and thanksgiving, we have rebuilt our strengths. In this image, that is to fill the rockets with fuel, also to fill the boosters with fuel. Then, yesterday in reconciliation, God has sent us the fire to ignite the boosters. This fire, it's an image from the Holy Spirit that we have at the Pentecost. And this fire purifies us and makes us lighter. And then the last step, that's today, that's the takeoff. What does this takeoff mean for us? The turn of the year, when we go from one year to another, that's a good opportunity to start anew. An opportunity to make also good resolutions that we will oft do. Now, at the end of these 3 days, we want to enter in the new year with these good intentions. And at the end of this teaching, I will give you as a miracle recipe for a resolution that holds up over time, but a little patience. So there are 2 ways to make good resolutions. Either you can review your year and see the difficult points where you can make progress, what was not so easy, where you were ambition a little lost, or what you can better do. And then you set goals to improve. And that's good. The question that you ask yourself then is, what do I want to improve in my life? How can I be a better one, a better self? And then we think of the resolutions. We think we can take these resolutions and keep them with our own strengths, with our own goodwill. But the reality is often a bit otherwise. It goes otherwise. It doesn't last more than a few weeks. And that's what Paul says us in the letter to the Romans, in the 7th chapter. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I keep on doing. So it's not always easy to keep these resolutions, to do the good. Therefore, would I like to offer today a different perspective, a different way to do that, by asking you this question: what does God want to do in my life, in your life? Can God suggest me something to do? Has God a plan for me for this year, for this coming year? And when I ask God for it, the basis of the resolution, of this good resolution, there will not be my own perspective of my life, my will and my power, but there will be God's perspective on my life, His will for me and His grace. So you can maybe take time today or in the coming days to ask God this question, to listen to Him, and then ask Him for His grace to keep those resolutions. Because what will really kickstart your year is this: to know that you depend on God every day for your daily life, to keep also your good resolutions, to grow as a man or a woman of God. That is today's secret, to learn to receive everything from God every day in your life. I don't know what kind of Christian you are, but often we can say to ourselves, God already knows everything. He knows what I need before I ask of it. Or simply, I won't bother God with my little problems. And for this reason, we don't want to ask God for anything. But that's really a lie. There is no problem that is too small or too big for God to handle. On the contrary, God is waiting for us to ask Him for our daily bread. That is, to ask Him for what we need in our daily lives. And that's really what Jesus tells us in the Gospel now of Matthew. Jesus says, "Ask and you will receive." And he constantly repeats this request, "Ask and you will receive." The Our Father prayer is in itself a great supplication, a great prayer of asking. "Hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. Lead us not into temptation." This prayer are the good resolutions of Christ. So please do not hesitate to ask everything of God. He is really waiting for it. He yearns for your asking of Him. Now, here comes this rule for good resolutions, resolution and goals that last over time. You may already know this technique. It's really widely used in the world. You just have to be intelligent or smart. SMART. So with this technique, S is for specific. That is, your goal must be really concrete, precise, and clearly formulated. It's not just a vague idea. For example, not "I want to be a better Christian." That's too vague and not precise. But "I want to pray more." Okay, that's a goal. I want to pray more. Then M stands for measurable. You should be able to set criteria to check objectively the achievement of your goals, of your resolutions. For example, I will pray 10 minutes every day, or 5 minutes, or what the time that's good for you. So that's just example. Then A is for achievable and R for relevant. The two are related. It's important to make resolutions that are positive, doable, and achievable. You should really have the desire to achieve them. This resolution should give you comfort and joy. This way we won't think of them as "I must do that." And so achievable, that means also that you should not aim too high. Do not plan for something that you know already that you will not achieve. Nevertheless, in faith, the Holy Spirit might suggest something a bit more challenging that you think you cannot achieve. But then you are not to rely on your own strength, but only on the grace of God, and He will achieve that through you. And that's really something else. And at last, T is for time bound. Your goals need a time frame, a deadline, or a special time for you to achieve them. It helps then as a checkpoint. For example, within 6 months or 1 year, I should have read my Bible. Okay, that's a bit a lot of reading, but it's achievable. So in the coming days, or preferably today, you can make some good resolutions, and I would advise you to write them on a letter or an email for you in your laptop, and then you can keep that. And then we will send you in maybe 2 months an email to remind you. So in 2 months you can already check where are you in your resolutions. Have you kept them, or are you already forgotten them? Now we can take also time for prayer. We will pray today with the multiplication of the loaves. We have already seen that in our emoji challenge. That's in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6, verse 30 to 44. There is still the possibility for those who want to follow a guided prayer on our YouTube channel in English or German. So as usual, you can begin with finding a good place, a quiet place, maybe with lights, a Bible, or an image of Jesus. Then you can start with the sign of the cross. or small prayer that you like, just take the time then to enter into the presence of God. We know that God is already there, He's waiting for you, He's already present. It's just us, we need to enter into His presence and feel that He is here with us. Then you can ask God for a grace. Today, so you can already begin to ask God for something. Today we can ask, for example, for the grace of joy and faithfulness. But if you feel you need something else, you can also ask that. Then you can read the text slowly and imagine the scene. What happens? Jesus proposes the disciple to spend time with Him in rest, to rest with Him, to leave the world and go into a quiet place. That's a bit like what we have done in these 3 days. We have taken time with Him, to listen to Him, and to learn from Him. And then come a great crowd, and Jesus has pity, and takes pity on them, and He teaches them, although the disciple wanted something else. And then the disciple is probably a bit disappointed, and they want to quickly send the people away, to be just with Jesus and calm. This is what they want, their project, what they think should be right. They are worried and can't also imagine how so many people will eat. But Jesus has another plan. He has another perspective. For this, He just needs the disciples to trust Him, to feed the crowd. So you can take the time really to read slowly the text one or two times. Then if you feel that a particular Bible passage touches you, you can just pray with it. Otherwise, I will give you 3 ideas for your prayer. At first, you can look at the disciples. They are worried. They see only what they lack, what they don't have. So they don't have enough food, enough money to buy food. And they probably don't understand Jesus. How can He feed this crowd with a few loaves and fish? How can He ask that from us? Then you can look at Jesus, what His reaction is. First, He has compassion, He takes pity on the crowd. Then He has trust in His Father. He trusts that the Father can achieve everything. And He praises Him for what He already has. He praises God, His Father, for these few loaves of bread and fishes. And then we can see at the end that there is so much leftovers. These little gifts, they were enough. So what does it mean? It means that God just needs that we give Him our trust, everything that we have, although it could seem a bit too small, nothing else. But He just needs that. And then when we trust Him, He can create and do much more than we can imagine. You can then conclude your prayer with Our Father or with another prayer. Just take time then with God to speak to Him, just as if He were close, which is in reality. Take time with Him and just speak with Him easily of your day, of your worries, of what you discovered through this prayer. And you can then close your prayer. Have a good time.